There comes a time in your life when silence is no longer an option. There comes a moment when the weight of your calling presses so heavily on your chest that you can't breathe until you open your mouth and declare what God has placed inside of you. Silence may keep you comfortable, silence may keep you accepted, but silence will never birth your destiny. You were not created to sit in the background of your own story. You were not called to watch life happen to you like a spectator at someone else's game. You were created to step into the arena, to open your mouth and to announce to the world, I am who God says I am, and I will become everything He has called me to be. Destiny is voice activated. It doesn't respond to your fears. It doesn't respond to your insecurities. It doesn't respond to the whispers of doubt in your mind. It responds to your declaration. You've got to speak it. Speak it when nobody believes you. Speak it when the evidence doesn't match. Speak it when your bank account says empty and your dreams say overflow. Speak it when your body feels weak, but your spirit says, I shall not die, but live. The enemy of your soul wants you quiet. He wants you silenced. He wants you too intimidated to open your mouth, because he knows that if you ever start declaring your destiny, mountains will move, chains will break, doors will open. He knows that if you ever align your voice with the voice of heaven, there is nothing he can do to stop you. Do you realize that silence protects your fear, but speech protects your future? Every time you speak what God placed in you, you are putting pressure on the atmosphere to line up with your assignment. Every time you declare, you are forcing the environment to bow to the authority of your calling. So don't you dare stay silent. Don't you dare let people's opinions muzzle your mouth. Don't you dare let past mistakes convince you that your voice doesn't matter. Your voice carries power. Your voice carries healing. Your voice carries freedom, not just for you, but for everyone connected to you. When you open your mouth, destinies are unlocked. When you speak, generational curses are broken. When you declare, angels go to work. The sound of your voice carries weight in the spirit realm, and the earth is waiting to hear it. So rise up and speak. Speak life where there's been death. Speak hope where there's been despair. Speak vision where there's been confusion. Speak destiny until the sound of your declaration becomes the soundtrack of your future. Because the truth is, your silence serves your enemy, but your voice serves your destiny. And today, you've got to make a choice. Will you stay silent and let life pass you by, or will you open your mouth and step boldly into the life you were created to when you look at your life and wonder why certain things are stuck, why certain doors remain closed, why certain opportunities seem to slip through your hands? Sometimes it is not because you are not gifted, not because you are not chosen, not because you are not worthy, but because you have been too silent about what you carry. Destiny cannot survive in silence. What is within you has to be released. And it can only be released when you begin to open your mouth and declare it with boldness. Many people wait for the right conditions, for the right people to affirm them, for the right moment to arrive. But destiny does not wait for perfect timing. It waits for your voice. The voice that refuses to agree with fear, the voice that refuses to bow to intimidation, the voice that is unafraid to announce what God has whispered in the midnight hours. The world cannot benefit from what you keep locked inside. The treasure in you is only revealed when you dare to speak it out loud, when you call it forth even when nothing around you supports it. There is a war over your words, because words have power to shape the unseen and create the visible. Silence keeps you bound, but speech sets things in motion. Every time you choose silence, you are choosing to let life dictate your future. But every time you speak, you are dictating to life what your future will be. You cannot afford to stay muted in a world that responds to sound. Even creation itself began with a word, not with silence. If you remain quiet, you deny yourself the authority you have been given. If you shrink back, you allow the voices of doubt and negativity to control the narrative of your life. But when you rise up and open your mouth, you disrupt the lies, you challenge the limitations, and you announce to every force working against you that you will not be silenced. Your destiny is waiting on your agreement, and agreement happens when your mouth aligns with your spirit. You may feel fear, you may see obstacles, you may hear critics, but you cannot allow those voices to override the voice within you. Every time you declare your destiny, you are watering the seeds planted in your soul. Every time you speak, you are building momentum in the atmosphere. Even if nobody claps, even if nobody understands, even if nobody supports you, your destiny is not dependent on applause. It is dependent on your willingness to say it until you see it. The world may try to shut you down, but the more you speak, the stronger you become. Think about how many dreams have died in silence, how many visions were buried because someone was too afraid to declare them. Think about how many lives remain unchanged because someone kept quiet instead of releasing the word they carried. Silence is the graveyard of destiny, but your voice is the key to resurrection. What you are afraid to say is often the very thing that will break you free. If you never declare who you are, if you never announce what you are called to do, you risk living your whole life beneath your potential. Your destiny demands your voice, and it will never manifest until you open your mouth and let it be heard. There are moments in life when the weight of your past tries to press so heavily on your shoulders that it convinces you your future has no room to grow. The mistakes you made, the disappointments you endured, the failures you experienced whisper in your ear that you are not qualified to step into what is ahead. But destiny was never given to the perfect. It was given to the willing. What holds most people back is not their lack of ability. It is their agreement with the shame of yesterday. You cannot allow what you have been through to silence what you are becoming. Every scar you carry is not a disqualification. It is proof that you survived what was sent to destroy you. Every tear that fell was watering the soil of your future. Every closed door was redirecting you toward the one that was meant for you. Destiny does not erase your past, it redeems it. The pain you endured becomes the foundation of your strength. The rejection you faced becomes the fuel of your determination. The struggles you overcame become the very testimony that will give others hope. The voices that tell you that you are too broken, too damaged, too unworthy are the very voices that fear what will happen when you realize how much power is inside you. Silence may feel safe because it keeps you from being judged, but silence also keeps you from being free. The moment you decide to speak your destiny in spite of your past, you break the chains of condemnation that try to bind you. You must stop rehearsing the language of defeat and start declaring the language of victory. Stop replaying the story of how it didn't work out and start speaking the story of what will come to pass. Your future is not held hostage by your failures. It is fueled by your persistence. What you say about yourself has more power than what anybody else says about you. If you keep calling yourself unworthy, you will live unworthy. If you start calling yourself chosen, you will begin to walk like someone who knows they have been chosen. Your words create the environment your destiny will grow in. Your past is powerless to define you unless you keep giving it your voice. When you refuse to be silent, when you declare that your story is still unfolding, you set yourself in alignment with the greater plan that has always been waiting for you. There are seasons when the opposition you face is not a sign that you are failing, but a confirmation that you are on the verge of stepping into something greater. The resistance around you often intensifies right before the breakthrough, because what you are carrying threatens the systems, the doubts, and the limitations that have kept you bound. If you never faced resistance, you would never recognize the strength inside of you. The friction you encounter is sharpening your character. The pressure you feel is preparing your voice. And the obstacles in your path are opportunities for you to prove that silence will not win. The adversary of your soul does not waste energy fighting someone who has no future. The fact that you are being opposed is proof that you are dangerous to the darkness you are confronting. This is why you cannot afford to be quiet when resistance rises. Silence in the face of adversity gives power to what was sent to stop you. When you open your mouth and speak in the middle of opposition, you are declaring that your circumstances do not control your destiny. You are making it clear that no weapon formed against you shall prosper, that no lie spoken against you will take root, that no storm surrounding you will drown out the voice of your calling. Pressure has a way of either breaking you or birthing you, and the difference is determined by whether you stay silent or whether you speak. Your destiny requires you to find your voice even in the hardest seasons. It is easy to speak when everything looks favorable, but the real test is whether you can still speak when nothing seems to match what you believe. The environment may not agree, the people around you may not support you, the evidence may not align, but your voice has the authority to shift the atmosphere. Every time you declare your future in the midst of resistance, you are proving that faith is stronger than fear. Every time you speak in spite of the opposition, you are reminding yourself that what is in you is greater than what is against you. Resistance may try to silence you, but it is also the very thing that will reveal the power of your destiny once you decide to rise and use your voice. There are hidden places inside every person where dreams have been buried, visions have been covered, and desires have been locked away because fear convinced you they were too big to ever come to pass. Many walk around carrying seeds of greatness that never see the light of day, not because they are incapable, but because silence has become the guard that keeps those seeds trapped. What you do not speak remains imprisoned within you, and what you continue to suppress will eventually suffocate under the weight of neglect. You cannot keep waiting for someone else to give you permission to become who you were created to be. Destiny does not need approval, it needs your agreement. The moment you align your mouth with what is inside of you, the buried begins to rise, the hidden begins to reveal itself, and the impossible begins to take shape. The power of life and death rests in the tongue, and yet so many forfeit that power by choosing silence. Silence may feel like protection, but in reality it is a cage. It protects you from rejection, it shields you from criticism, it hides you from ridicule, but it also locks you away from possibility. Every dream requires the risk of exposure, and every vision requires the courage of declaration. Nothing significant is ever birthed in silence, because silence cannot build momentum. The sound of your voice is the trigger that activates the future waiting for you. When you open your mouth and declare your destiny, you stir up the gifts that have been dormant. You begin to awaken the boldness that has been sleeping under the weight of doubt. You ignite the fire that fear tried to extinguish. Speaking your destiny is not about arrogance, it is about alignment. It is about aligning your words with your purpose, your speech with your calling, your declaration with the truth of who you were designed to be. The world does not need another muted voice. It needs someone who will dare to speak even when the odds are stacked against them. Destiny demands exposure. It requires you to bring into the open what has been hidden in the shadows. That book you never wrote, that business you never started, that idea you never shared, all of it is waiting for the moment you decide to stop hiding behind silence and step into the light of your own voice. What you speak creates movement, and what you keep silent remains stagnant. The time has come to understand that your destiny will never manifest as long as it remains trapped within your thoughts. It has to be spoken. It has to be declared. It has to be released into the atmosphere so that it can begin to draw the resources, the people, and the opportunities designed to bring it to life. There is a unique sound that only your voice can release, a sound that carries your identity, your authority, and your assignment. Nobody else can speak your destiny the way you can, because nobody else was entrusted with the exact same calling that rests on your life. Too often, people spend their years echoing the voices of others, repeating what they hear around them, and never discovering the weight that their own words carry. But destiny does not respond to imitation, it responds to authenticity. What you release into the atmosphere has power only when it comes from the core of who you truly are. The world is already filled with noise. What it is waiting for is the sound that can only come through you. Your voice has the ability to set direction for your life. It is like a compass in the spirit, guiding your steps toward the place you are meant to be. When you speak words of doubt, you steer yourself into hesitation and fear. When you speak words of faith, you chart a course toward growth and breakthrough. What you continually declare becomes the path your life follows. Many people find themselves trapped in cycles they were never meant to live in, not because they lack vision, but because their words keep reinforcing the wrong reality. Every declaration you make is either building the cage you live in or unlocking the door to freedom. There is also generational power in your voice. What you speak does not only impact your life, it affects those who come after you. Every blessing you declare, every curse you break, every promise you release out of your mouth sets the tone for future generations. Silence allows patterns to repeat, but speech disrupts cycles and plants new seeds of possibility. Your children, your family, your community are all impacted by whether you choose to stay quiet or whether you choose to declare destiny with authority. When you recognize the weight of your words, you begin to treat your voice differently. You no longer throw out careless declarations that diminish your future. You no longer agree with every negative thought that enters your mind. You no longer allow fear to silence you when your destiny is calling. You start to speak with intentionality, knowing that every word you release is shaping the future you are about to walk into. Your destiny does not just need your thoughts or your dreams. It needs the sound of your own voice calling it forth, until what you declare becomes the reality you live in.